is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Owing to my dog being in full recovery and my attention being predominantly elsewhere, yes, we are doing a slightly lazier video, and I'm not remotely sorry because my dog comes first. We're going to be covering Amber because her continued back and forth with that of her ex, Beck, has gotten even more disgusting and interesting. And her cope, her moulding, is quite something. Because she's trying to present this very prim, proper, above everything persona, but in reality she is fundamentally failing at it. Because she's failing at it so magnificently, I'm having a jolly good laugh. Yes, I feel no shame, and I have no regrets. So because she likes to distract from everyone else, on Twitter, somebody had very kindly taken a claim of Amber's to prove a point. Now, Amber likes to claim she doesn't typically eat fast. Let's face it, an inconsequential and small point, but we're going to build towards the Beck stuff because the Beck stuff is delicious. To prove the point that Amber eats quite quickly, and doesn't really chew much like that of Chantal, here is a clip proving she does in fact eat quite quickly once you remove the talking.
Genuinely, it's just been hectic. Holy, this is good. Wow. So I'm sure some of you are like, why is there a stopwatch behind you? Well, I'll explain in a second. Let me enjoy this delicious broccoli. A lot of people think that like mukbangs are coming back. Literally no. Literally no. People are thinking because I'm sitting down eating a meal that I'm like highly editing that it's a mukbang. Literally no.
Actually, yes it is. You're trying to play into the feeder side of your audience. Those that, well, like the adult content that you totally didn't make. As dainty. What intrigues me about what you're doing is the stopwatch is to prove you are not eating fast. But what you're doing is trying to downplay everything you are and what made you so that you can justify doing the very thing you're claiming you're not doing.
A mukbang is where you eat large quantities of food and you get to watch the person actually enjoy it, chew their food, etc., but that is not what's happening here. I have been editing down.
I think you'll find actually mukbang by definition is considered that, yes, but it's proportionate to the size of the person, right? As in it's massive for the person who usually looks quite small. Mukbangs now, or mukbangs, are typically just people eating on camera. The pedantic definition you present does not resonate because you're eating on camera and you're having a meal. You're talking. Therefore it is, loosely, an internet mukbang. Mukbang. Gorging. I hope that chicken's dry because we know you like it dry.
My eating so much that I take out 97% of my chewing. And the reason why I have this little stopwatch back here is because people are like, oh my gosh, she's eating it so fast. She's just like gulping it down in like 2 minutes. No, it's because I'm like highly editing it because it's not a mukbang. I'm literally a person who lives alone and who eats alone every single day, all of my meals, and I get lonely. Yes, I do. So sometimes it's nice to come on here and be like, let's try a factor meal. And I think it's a really cool concept for people who like are too lazy to cook or who can't cook or don't have time to cook. Like it doesn't even matter why you have it. But yeah, a mukbang is very much not what I'm doing. I don't know, it's just weird. It's almost like people want that, but they say that they don't, but they really do. I don't know how to explain it.
Now, there are two aspects of that to pay attention to. The first part is the time on the clock. The second is the number of times she scoops at the food within that time. Amber indicates that she is not a fast eater, yet the clock and the number of times her fork scoops food would lead me to believe otherwise. Okay, 1 point redundantly removed. Cool. On to the next one. Courtesy of a live stream, she had some comments about Beck and Mr. Snowflake.
The haters are incels hating you, make them feel better about their sad life. Yeah, it's a lot. Like Snowflake like cheats on his wife and like that's okay. I don't know. It's just a lot.
I'm also led to believe you introduced the term SA when talking about Mr. Snowflake, using your own interpretation of information to go in on that particular creator. I would suggest otherwise because you don't have the brain cells to go up against anyone that's English. Let's face it, you just don't. You can try and claim otherwise, but people have been even on the side paying attention to your lore so much. We know more about your life than you do, because we were able to work out the truth and you believe your lies. The lies that make up your life are tragic. So consider that a public service announcement for Amber? Yeah, let's call it that. So now we've got all the inconsequential and slightly smaller stuff out of the way, let's introduce Beck into this story. Because boy oh boy, Amber just needs to stop. Much like with Mr. Snowflake, she needs to stop talking about Beck as well, because it won't stop. They won't stop. This whole train will not cease until Amber relents, or is honest about what she really did. Because she can try and act prim, proper, above, and like she is superior, but now we know how she wiped. I don't know. No, thank you. But I'm going to play the clips anyway, after she's continually mentioned Beck for a minute.
So my question is why, so I say very, like, I want to know, like, genuinely, because, like, I'm dumb and this isn't meant to offend or anything like that. So sometimes I slip and I say Becky, even though they want to be called Beck, right? Okay. That's fair. But how come I want to be called Amberlynn? I've made that very clear. How come they're allowed to call me Amber?
So within this, there is actually a point. Sure, Beck would rather be called Beck and not Becky. You would rather be called Amberlynn, which I for the longest time believed was your actual name. Now I know it's just Amber. I'm going to call you just Amber. I may as well get in line with the rest of the oiks of the internet and address you how we feel is only appropriate. The difference between Beck and you right now is that Beck is respected enough that people will call Beck by their preferred name. There is not much in the way of respect in the online space for you, reasons of which will become more apparent when Beck speaks within this video. Again, knowing who you really are and the person you show yourself to be, being two totally separate people, rubs a lot of people up the wrong way. This as a problem will persist for a long time. That is entirely on you, by the way. It is your fault. If you want to undo that kind of mess, you are the one that has to lead that change. But since you can't commit to doing one thing right by yourself, it is unlikely the internet will rally behind you. Good decisions, good results. Poor decisions, this.
That's not, like, I genuinely don't understand. Like, if you want to be called something, you need to make that clear, and people need to respect that. So my question is, like, I want to be called Amberlynn. I've made that very clear multiple times that that is what I want to be called. My name is not Amber.
Unless I'm mistaken, legally your name is Amber. Unless you went down the deed poll route and I didn't know about it. From what I've gleaned in the online space, your name is Amber. That's why your mother still calls you Amber. No doubt you bully her into changing that.
I hate that name, genuinely, truly. So I want to learn, because maybe I am stupid in that area. So someone teach me, please.
Fun fact though, when it comes to being online, in the online space I'm known as Omegon, a nickname that has been held since university. Tragic reason why, but it doesn't matter. This name is pronounced differently by many. It is misspoken on purpose by people who do not like me, or they choose a different name entirely. I couldn't care less. While a part of who I am and my identity, I don't care enough. I really don't. People can call me whatever they like. It will not change me in the slightest. Easiest one people go to is Meg, and I don't care either. I have no reason to care. This is the point that we're getting to, I guess, halfway in this video, where you are, you've used Beck first of all to make your point. Second, it's a point that doesn't need to be made, much like the eating fast point, which is, I guess, an overarching point of you are desperately trying to find something to make into a bigger issue to distract from what happens next. And what happens next is Beck outs you for your bathroom habits. I don't think I'll ever willingly want to use a washcloth ever again. Here's why.
Before I started wiping her, she would use washcloths to wipe.
I know Amber was flush with coin at this point, getting 100,000 views minimum per video, but let's face it here, that is one wasteful expense. And just before they explain how Amber was doing this, back in the day before loo roll existed, you'd have a bucket of water, a stick, and a cloth would be attached to the end of it. You'd use it to wipe, and then you put it into the bucket with the water. That water would sit with your fecal matter and other nonsense in it, and it would be considered clean enough to use again. That was what was done. If you want to see a clip of someone doing that, Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and the prequel series. Batiatus does it. It's not ideal, but it's how people did this before loo roll existed. The fact Amber hadn't considered using essentially that, or one of those Pog hand slappers. You know, remember Pogs? Yeah, one of those perhaps. A loofah, even. That might be a better idea with a belt sander attachment. Would have been preferable to the idea of you using washcloths. Please don't tell me you put them in the washing machine afterwards.
She would set them on the corner of the sink, and then she would turn herself around to wipe herself on it. And then she would throw them away.
Now, if memory serves, they did have a separate bathroom to the one shared by Eric and Eric's partner. I do remember that because the bathroom became a meme because no one could believe Amber fit in any of it or on any of it. But I guess this is about where Eric gets factored into this story because of how they respond to this when they start to suspect. And yes, it gets grim. I don't think it gets any better. The low bar is well and truly at rock bottom.
Our roommates started to notice that their late mother's washcloths were disappearing.
Yeah, that's a bit shitty, don't you think?
And they confronted her about it, and she wanted me to lie to them for her, but I didn't.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall for that conversation, and not the one hovering over the washcloth, used. That piques my interest. I wonder if that was a contributing factor to them moving out, because I can't imagine they stayed friends for much longer when they realised, my late mother's washcloths have been used as a wiping device on the edge of a counter while stacked up so Amber can wipe her crack. Bear in mind here, corner unit, now you've got the image in your head, congratulations. You're one of us now.
She ended up buying more washcloths for herself, and instead of throwing them away, she had me wash them in the sink and then put them in the washer.
In my head I was trying to work out how many washcloths she went through a day. I could imagine based on how much she ate and her size, there wasn't a solid movement to work with, it had to be 3 to 4 a day. Now she was making good money, sure, but think of the wastage, man. And then to have them washed twice so they could be reused. Nah. That's not Raven, that's not okay. We're not going to tolerate that. That is ick and disgusting, and I would love to see Amber's response to this, because I bet she's got nothing. Because the best she can say is, yeah, I was bedbound, give you the dead delivery of it, and say, yeah, I had to do that because I couldn't wipe. Like, I can't imagine Beck was lifting your legs up to do it and changing a nappy. I don't think they're doing your size. Although based on the size of your clothing anyway, you could have just bought several towels, sewn them together. You may as well use the towel instead of a washcloth, and then you could have done it yourself. The back and forth motion, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, yeah, that. And by the way, an intrepid Twitter user, you know who you are, found a clip of washcloths. I'm going to insert them here for the last clip of Beck.
Ice tray. I got some more washcloths for the house. I got some washcloths. I'm loving this color. She got some washcloths, gray and white. I also needed some more washcloths, so I got a set.
I won't deny, I do vaguely remember people saying, who needs that many washcloths? It never occurred to me that you were the type to use them a couple times on your booty hole and then, well, to use the corner of the unit to push into that area, to then throw them away or have them washed twice to then use them again for a while. But at the time when you were doing this, it would look a bit more interesting as opposed to you saying, so this is my loo roll? Dainty? Queen? Hecticana? Can I do any more of that? I can't be asked.
Wiping ended up being the lesser of two evils at the time.
Lesser of two evils, huh? I'm not going to criticise you too much because your relationship, we've spoken of it much over the years. I even did a Mukbangers Ex-Wives video on you because I felt that while you weren't totally innocent, now given a greater scope, part of me wants to revisit it. Just to add the additional context of just how crappy that situation type deal moment was for you. Amber had everything done, given, made for her. And when she had to do it herself, she couldn't even commit to the part where it involved her actually doing the cleaning. We know she was bedbound for a time because of her weight. We now know she wiped herself because wiping. Yeah. But then we also know that Beck was having to get their hands well and truly stuck in the quagmire just for you, the control freak micromanaging cowbag, who's so big she still can't wipe her own booty. There's no chance you can, by the way, because you're a quarter-ton princess on path to halfway heifer. Half-ton heifer, even. Yes, congratulations for that. I keenly await your crown in the future, presented to you by a Billie Eilish lookalike. Yeah, Tess Holiday. Anyway, thank you for joining. I do apologise again for this video and not something different. I really am sorry about that. I'm going to go and hang out with my dog. I'll keep you posted. She has an update today. She has to have a cannula removed from her arm and some more fluids. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and thank you all for listening.